Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN. I got two big things for you today. Number one, we are going to be showing you off all of the matchups for Gen 3, which is going to be for SoS 3 5021 through 5026. Those are the kingdoms that are currently in pre-war for Season of Strife and pre-war for pre-Strife. Those are the kingdoms that are going to be going into the next Season of Strife pool, at least for Dragonfall, and then some did Calling of Courage, and I think some opted out or might be skipping. But we're at least going to be showing you what the matchups look like and the PvP stats. Number two is that this is probably going to be either the last video or the second to last video with this current setup, is my hope. Off to the side, I have a little over 500 to 550 bucks worth of kind of budget equipment for upgrading my production, and so hopefully you'll be seeing a new presentation, better quality camera, mic, maybe a little green screen action that we're going to be working in as efforts are being made to, we'll just say, do some minimal level ups, along with maybe even getting some more streaming into as well. However, I'll touch on that a little bit more maybe in another video. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up because it helps out a lot. Okay. Let's go ahead and just get right into the goods, my friends. So we'll start off by just showing you the first matchups. So this is how it looks. So we got screenshots of the map. Now we're going to show you what the matchup looks like just across the board for each team. Once we get closer to Zone 2s, then I'll show you the breakdowns for the Zone 2 matchups, how those look, Zone 3 matchups, and maybe even adding in some more stats that we're doing currently. Again, sky is the limit for us young bloods. Okay. In the red team, we have 312, 320, 354, 357. That's WoW, EVG, SYN, and YSS. Keep in mind, the alliances here are not, or may not be the only alliances there. These are just the ones that registered up on the team matchup where the king or queen had registered at that time, or it's just the number one alliance in the kingdom at that time when we pulled the data. They're going up against 125, 150, 310, 366, or BV, VOD, Lion, and VW. Now, here's how the matchups look. We'll go over differentials. 0.56 billion in favor of the WoW group. And again, we'll just use the first alliance name to define the group, not to take away from anyone else. 2.65 billion merits in favor of the WoW group. 4.6% on merit to current power goes in favor of the WoW group. Now, keep in mind, the merit accumulation here is still from the last season. Why is that important? Because it shows us how much activity the groups are bringing in based on what they performed in the last KvK heading into this current KvK, so we kind of have a baseline to work off of. Then we can compare again maybe at the end of the season. 42.12 billion kills in favor of the WoW group. 67.94 million deads in favor of the WoW group. We have a 9.18 billion heals in favor of the WoW group and a 0.33 kill-heal ratio that's in favor of the WoW group. Now, when we look at totals for 60 million plus players, they have 28 more. When we look at 100 million plus, they have 43 more. Almost double. Sorry, almost triple the amount. I mean, look, I would just argue clear advantage. I'm not even going to say slight. I will say clear advantage in favor of the WoW group. Now, maybe some of the Zone 2 or the Zone 3 fights might appear to be a little more balanced. We'll have to see how those break down. But all in all, when we're talking about the potential final zone, crescendo, pinnacle, final boss, Abyss, yeah, clear advantage going on the WoW group. So we'll see how that plays out. But as always, right, activity is king. We'll just see how much of a king it really is or not. Okay, and then here's where the positions are for the map. Next matchup we have is going to be MVP, MFS, WWE, GVW, that's Kingdom 136, 197, 203, 245, versus A2A, Moon, COS, ZMR, which are in 147, 270, 298, and 358. How does the matchup look on differential? So we have 2.02 billion power in favor of the MVP group, or we'll just say the red group. That might make it easier for color coordinating. 1.4 billion more merits on the blue team. I feel like I'm just giving some Halo vibes, but hey, if it makes it easier. 3.16% in favor on merits to power in favor of the blue team. We have 20.04 billion more kills on the blue team, 8.78 million more deads in favor of the blue team, heals 4.91 billion in favor of the blue team, and then we have 0.18 added on kill-heal ratio in favor of the blue team. How do the numbers look? These are not awful. You have 14 more 60 mil plus players on the red team. You also have 2 billion plus more power on the red team. Keep in mind, Brink of War has not happened yet. That could change some things. We'll pull this again afterwards. However, you have 25 more 100 mil pluses in favor of the blue team. Now, what's the one thing we often talk about? We want to see more power and more 60 mil pluses on one team, and we want to see more 100 mil pluses on the other team. That, to us, is more of a soft indicator of having a little bit more balance. However, they do have 25, so that's, again, more than 50% of the current amount that the red team has for the 100 mils. I would argue having the 25 more 100 mils probably is a little bit more impactful than the 14 more 60 mil pluses and the plus 2 billion power. That's just me. I'm not going to say it's a heavy amount, but I will say it is a light amount. However, this matchup is closer than the first matchup. Next one we have is going to be EXP, MM, ABK, KRM. This is Kingdom 19, 109, 140, and 409. They're going up against BTX. That's the newly formed kind of super server. And we have War, SWNS, and EVA. Well, I don't know if I'd say super server, but just big server in that group. This one is pretty... This one's pretty... I mean, it is, right? We spoke about this when we talked about, like, what would the teams be, right? Because we talked about BTX and, like, they have to pair some of these groups up, right? So you have EXP, you had 3 paragons here, EXP, BTX, and NN, right? 19, 99, 140. And you see here, 19, right, so 19 and 140. So they actually paired 2 paragons up, which, based on the rules, is not supposed to happen. It's supposed to be 1 paragon per team, from my understanding. And yeah, but someone did tell me this from Rock, that basically some of the Imperiums or whatever the Paragon designations in Rock, like some of them basically were able to get around this by not registering. And so the system registered them. I'm hoping the COD team fixes this before Gen 1 or before the next season of Strife Group, because again, how are you going to avoid this? Well, the one way you avoid this is by, 1, only allowing 1 chapter for people to sign up for, which in this case, just make it Dragonfall. Don't give them multiple options. And number 2, increase the kingdom pool size. There's no reason why we need to choose 3 different storylines, right? You don't get to choose 3 different storylines in Season 2. You never got to choose 3 different storylines in 1+, 1++, 1+++++, 1, all the 1+s. Even the 2+s. You just went right into one storyline. That was it. Keep it simple, Pippin. Okay. Enough of my passion. 12.14 billion power differential. That's in favor of the blue team. 0.4 billion more merits in favor of the blue team. 1.37% for merits over power activity in favor of the red team. 29.79 billion kills in favor of the blue team. 18.99 million deads in favor of the blue team. 12.19 billion kills in favor of the blue team. And we have 0.17 kill to heal ratio in favor of the blue team. Let's look at numbers. Only 10 more 60 mil pluses, that's in favor of the red team. However, we have 73 more 100 mil pluses that are in favor of the blue team. You combine that with a 12.14 billion increase in power. To be honest, this is probably the saddest matchup. It's probably the most disappointing matchup. Now, keep in mind, part of this... I will save some comments maybe for later. I already kind of mentioned how you solve some of this. I do have some other things I'd like to say, but I'll save that for now. I'd love to hear what you guys think on that, though. I mean, it sucks, right? I feel bad for the red team. Go red team, go red team, go. Go red team, go red team, go. Okay, next matchup we have is going to be TFT. DG, Evo, LL, Dime, and then 127, 135, 179, 391, 398, 417. They're going up against LV, RAV, XSJ, RP, AA, WER. That's 128, 268, 313, 332, 369, and 410. Okay. This is an interesting matchup. I'm just going to say that. So you have 15.34 billion more power on the blue team. That's almost double the red team. I mean, that's freaking crazy. You have was this 0.8? I did this wrong. Hang on. This is supposed to be 1.49 minus 0.673. Oh, no, that was right. Okay, sorry. That's 817 million merits more on the blue team. Okay, good. Then we have 0.57% for merits over power activity in favor of the blue team, 7.02 billion kills in favor of the blue team, 80.96 million deads in favor of the blue team, almost half. 15.28 billion heals in favor of the blue team, 0.13 kill to heal ratio in favor of the red team. And then when we look at total numbers, we have 8 more 60 mil plus players in favor of the red team. We have 4 more 100 mil players in favor of the red team. Now, is that going to be enough to offset the 15.34 billion power differential that's in favor of the blue team? I don't know. I don't think so. But yeah, if anything, I would give the advantage. I don't know how much I want to give because who knows what's going to happen. I mean, you could just have ultra activity from the 100 mil plus players and the 8 plus 60 mils and maybe 15. I mean, I think if anything, this is going to be an interesting case study because will the red team, despite the power disadvantage, despite not having as many merits, which you could argue is a sense for activity, but there's some asterisks there too as well because it does depend on how the previous season really played out for them and what those opportunities were to actually fight and get merits. So yeah, there is some gray area. I think this is going to be because this can go one of two ways. Either the blue team absolutely crushes and it doesn't matter that the red team has a few more advantages at the 60 mil plus and 100 mil plus player power thresholds, or the red team just says F that 15.3 billion power differential and they're just going to crush that with a handful of players, which like I'm saying, I think this could be fascinating, even though it looks rough. The next matchup we have, this is going to be TWSK, KOV, BB, SIN, GT, and TCS from 269, 274, 325, 362, 401, and 413. They're going up against RNN, PB, FRCO, FOH, LH, VMS, and that's 129, 146, 272, 334, 338, and 397. This is a 1.96 billion power differential in favor of the blue team, 220 million merit advantage in favor of the red team. We have a 1.44% for merit to power activity in favor of the red team, 3.88 billion more kills in favor of the blue team, 3.56 million more deads in favor of the red team, 4.8 billion heals in favor of the blue team, and a 0.04 kill to heal ratio that's in favor of the blue team. How do the numbers look? Well, you got 23 more 60 mil plus players in the blue team, and you have 1 more 100 mil plus player on the red team. I argue that this... Now, it is interesting because you have more merit activity from fighting on the red team. You have 1 more 100 mil plus player. You have a little bit less. You have 2 billion less power, and double the amount of 60 mil pluses are on the blue team. Part of me feels like I'm going to give the edge to the blue team, but I'm going to give a minimal or light edge, not a medium or heavy amount. I'll give a light edge out to the blue team for how it looks. But I do think that this matchup is a little bit closer than maybe what is shown on paper. So we'll see how that plays out. I think this is the last group we have now, which is going to be Corn, DRH, GOS, I352, Sync, and WOV, which is from 130, 141, 155, 352, 353, and 364. They're going up against DEET, Nova, Drew, or DRE, WB, SH, GOK3, which is from 111, 154, 190, 319, 414, and 416. They have a 0.4 billion power advantage on the red team, 138 or almost 139 million more merits for the blue team. That's a 0.73% advantage on the blue team when it goes to merit to power activity. 0.36 billion kill advantage in favor of the red team, very small. 9.26 million deads in favor of the blue team, 2.33 billion heals in favor of the red team. We have a 0.04 kill to heal ratio in favor of the blue team. How do the player numbers look? We have 10 more 60 mil plus players in favor of the red team, and we have 2 more 100 mil plus players in favor of the blue team. I mean, I feel like there's a little bit of an edge to the blue team, right? To me, I feel like maybe those two 100 mil plus players, along with having a little bit more power, a little bit more merit activity, I give the edge there, but I'm going to go like minimal, maybe like min light edge to the blue team. I do think this is a closer matchup as well than maybe what the paper stats show. And this is where they're going to be. So yeah, that basically breaks down. I think we had 6 matchups for the 6 KvK groups. And if you do want to go and take a look at those, one of the ways that you can do that, I can't show it to you on this one, but if you're in one of those kingdoms, basically you would go to like the Brink of War thing, and then it shows you. You can then click on other matchups is where you would go, and you can kind of get a preview for those. Now, keep in mind, right, they removed the result page, and so they're just showing basically what they're doing now, which, again, if you're trying to reduce the amount of time, they're just showing you the results during the Brink of War phase, which I think is fine, especially if they're trying to shorten that KvK prep timeline. Why not? Right? If it's reducing some days, you get to still view it. It's just not this big, like, oh, right, all the matchups are being released at this time. I still think that's fine. That's going to do it for me. I would love to know what you guys think on the matchups. What are you looking forward to? Do you agree with any of the points that I had mentioned about maybe what are some opportunities and potential improvements they can look to make going forward? And also, if you're in any of the gens, like for Gen 1, right, we know that if they were willing to wait, and I'll maybe talk about this later, but would you be okay waiting 2, 3, 4 weeks, right, if you could double your kingdom pool size, right? It just, again, part of me feels like that's what we're going to have to go down. It can't just be, we're okay with recycling the matchups again and again and again. We just need more. We need a big influx. It can't just be a few kingdoms getting added each gen, in my opinion. All right. That's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.